their similarity makes them more difficult to learn. Hi there, Steve Kaufmann. And today I have a slightly different subject. I spoke in a previous video about how important it is to learn from things that are familiar. But by the same token, and the emphasis today is how difficult it is to learn things that are similar. Now, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, click on the bell for notifications. And if you follow me on a podcast service, please leave a comment. I do appreciate it. So, what do I mean by that? Well, I noticed, for example, that whenever I start a new language, there are words that sound very similar. Kawarimasu, wakarimasu, one is change, the other is understand in Japanese. It's very difficult to disentangle these words that sound similar. Another example is very often well-meaning people who write textbooks or teachers will try to get you to learn, in chapter 3, the colors. I remember I had a teacher once telling me, a tutor online, say, today we're gonna learn the colors. It's very difficult because those are similar, those are colors. And if you try to learn the colors as a batch, I personally find that very difficult to do. The fact that they're all different colors, one beside the other, doesn't help me learn them. The same is true if we talk about, the parts of the body, or numbers, or the months of the year, or the names of relatives, the cousin, boy cousin, girl cousin, in-law, mother's side, father's side, wife's side, husband's side. All of these things that are kind of similar, their similarity makes them more difficult to learn. To me, and I'd be interested, in fact, in hearing from people whether they have the same experience. If you learn things that are all different from each other, it's easier. So, and if we can space the colors or connect the colors to something else, like a green plant or a red shirt, and we come across them in different situations, then eventually we assimilate those. We start to learn them. But if we try to learn them as a list, I find that very difficult to do. So any situation where things are presented to us as a batch of things to learn, it makes it more difficult. Now, and the same goes with synonyms, for example, or you'll sometimes get a list of false friends, for example, and we're supposed to notice how these false friends don't mean in the new language what they meant in the old language, but going over them as a list. Here's a list of words that mean something in language A, here's what they mean in language B. That connection from A to B doesn't help me learn them, has been my experience. Even things like, phrasal verbs that have the same verb, get out of, get into, get on, get up, get rid of. The fact that they all have the word get there may not be helpful. Now, I haven't been in the position of having to learn phrasal verbs, but whenever I see these lists of things that are similar, have the same component in them, it's interesting. It's interesting while I'm looking at that list, and it may, in fact, reviewing them as a list may help me. I do that. It's an activity that I do, but I think it's a minor part of the learning process. It's a review part of the learning process. In order to learn those things, we actually have to find them, scattered, dispersed in content of interest. And, see it here, forget it, see it there, forget it. And if we have enough input, and if we come across these similar things, but we come across them in isolated situations, in different contexts, we're more likely to learn them. Whereas any attempt to learn these similar things as a list is probably not going to work that well. At least that's been my experience. And I think it relates somewhat to this idea of interleaving versus block learning. That anytime you're trying to master something by reading it over and over again, whether it be a history paper or a list of words, that's less effective than finding it over here, finding it over there, sort of grazing, interleaving. So I leave that as a thought, and I also will leave you with a video that I've done on interleaving, and also one on, why we shouldn't engage in sort of intensive block learning. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to your comments. Bye for now.